And we are back. We're hitting double digits, boys.
Woo.
Episode 10.
Yes, sir.
We
Big
made
time.
it right before the summer break. Dog days of summer.
Mm-hmm.
After a wild, contentious British Grand Prix, we hop over now to Hungary. We're going to hop right into the British Grand Prix. Obviously, there's the big story that we can get into. But before we do that, how do we feel about the sprint race format? I guess if you guys could give it a letter grade overall on the whole weekend, what would you give it?
I'd probably say a solid A-. I thought it was super entertaining. I mean, I thought the 17 laps was the perfect amount of time. You started to see a bit halfway through. Everybody was getting pretty aggressive. There was a bit of a DRS train for a bit, but I mean, no pit stops, no required tire. I thought it was awesome. I thought it was super entertaining. We saw some action. We saw the qualifier not finish on pole after the sprint race. I thought it was a pretty cool thing, and I'd like to see it on a few more tracks.
Yeah, no, I would say I would give it an A, man. I mean, overall, I thought it was very, very entertaining. That overall and sprint race having a lot to do with it was probably my favorite, like one of my favorite races overall of the season, just with a lot of stuff that happened entertaining wise and everything like that, whether good or bad outcome. But like, I don't know. I mean, I thought, 17 laps, like just echoing what Hoof said, dude. I mean, it was just like, it was actual racing, it wasn't going around. And like, I just thought overall it was very, very entertaining. I'm not sure if I'd like to see it for every single race, but I did like the fact that, it opened it up to a lot of guys that may not find themselves in a position to get on pole. So overall, I thought it was good.
Fernando Alonso
exactly.
ripped it up. I also liked how Martin Brundle kept saying, they won't let us call it a race, but he kept calling it a race while he was commenting, and he's like, we could all agree it's a race.
Yeah, exactly. It was a race.
Yeah, I think it works at some tracks. It would be stupid at Monaco, like when there's overtaking a sprint race. So I think they'll definitely keep doing it at tracks where you get some good overtaking. So moving forward, I think it'll be good. We got two more, so I'm excited. Do we know where the third is yet?
Isn't Monza one of them?
Monza's the next
second.
I don't know if we figured out the third.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
Maybe they do it in Austin.
Could be Austin, dude.
They do it in Austin.
The only thing with doing this is where they're going to run into trouble with the sprint racing, though, is like, as they progress with it, if like I wonder if you're going to start to see constructors and, like having issues at the end of seasons or something with like, hey, like where's the consistency and like, because the odds of getting a very drastic outcome with a sprint race are a lot higher in terms of who's going to be on pole than there are in the classic sprint of like, obviously the fastest car and the best driver is going to go. So, I do wonder if like, as they implement this more and more, will you start to see some guys being like, listen, we can't, we got to start to figure out one or the other here. So I don't know. It's one thing I was thinking about that may be a negative.
Yep. Well, it led to an exciting Sunday.
Very.
We go into it. We don't even make it through, 4 turns before we have probably the biggest incident of the season. Well, definitely the biggest incident of the season. Probably the biggest incident I've watched live in F1 as far as like
outside of Grosjean, maybe that would be.
Yeah, but I'm more like significance for points. Like we haven't really got to see a true fight. We were kind of in it for when Seb was fighting Lewis, but this was probably the biggest racing moment I've had as an F1 fan. So just wild, man. It's a lot of blame going around. I don't really know enough to say whose fault I think this fault comes down to they were both racing aggressive. Mm-hmm. They both put the aggressive line. No one backed off, and that just kind of happens. That's racing, baby.
Yeah, I mean, early overreaction, I think we were all mad because, I mean, we don't want Mercedes to win again. That's not an anti-Lewis thing. It's just for the sake of the sport. But when you look back, I mean, that is racing. It was a racing incident. Lewis has been backing off quite a bit this season when Max is overtaking. And today he said, no, I'm at home. I had a good qualifying. He didn't back down. Max didn't back down. I think we might see more of it if these two keep going this hard. But I mean, that is the fast. Cobb's Corner is the fastest sector on the track. It's dangerous, but Lewis didn't mean to wipe him out. He didn't want Max to get hurt. It's just a shitty implications for constructors because Red Bull were pulling ahead, and now Mercedes are right up their ass again.
Yeah, no, I mean, I don't really. I mean, it was definitely a bummer. Like, it's like a little like. I think I remember texting you guys at one point being like, dude, I'm just like bummed out right now. Like minutes after it happened, it was like, just like that was a tough crash. I mean, 51 G's into the wall, like that's no joke. And from replays, I did watch a few videos of it, just like people kind of like absorbing different people's opinions on it. They were showing some replays where some arguments were being made about like, hey, if like the two front tires are going around the same time, then it's one person's right away. But then if it's lined up with like the middle of the car, then it's the other person's right away. What they were pointing out was like Lewis made a very, very aggressive move in a dangerous turn that like, yeah, you know what? It was definitely risky. Points are on the line. If Max won this race, I mean, Mercedes season is looking really bad. And like, I mean, and I'm not trying to say there was some kind of conspiracy or anything, but that would lead one to see why Lewis was driving the way that he was. And so in order to keep up with Max, man, I mean, Max is arguably the most aggressive driver out there, so like it's a move that I think was an accident. I don't think Lewis meant to do it, but looking back at the replay, there was, I don't want to say careless driving going on, but it was really aggressive. Like, it probably could have backed off a little bit and that would have probably been the better thing. But I don't know.
Did you guys see what guys see what Christian Horner like was doing to like help the cause or their whatever they brought to the stewards? They had Alex Albon on a testing day go around Silverstone taking Lewis's line, and like they were doing the math and they like concluded that Lewis should have braked 35 feet earlier to make the corner. Yeah, I don't know. I Christian was going hard. I mean, they
gotta let it go, man.
Yeah.
They just gotta let it go.
And I think they did. So after the crash, we have Lewis going on, Lando ahead, but I think we all kind of knew what was going to happen in the back of our minds. Goes on to win the race, but still super impressive by Lando. The guy just consistently, he's had points, I think, in 18 races. Yeah. The last 18 races, which is insane. So we end up with McLaren at 163, Ferrari at 148. So that's another battle, man, that like obviously McLaren has the edge because they have Lando right now in that car, which I do think might be the slightly better car when it comes to race pace. I think Ferrari's a great Saturday car. We've seen it at Monaco. But when it comes to race pace, I think McLaren is better. So I think they have the advantage. But that doesn't mean that we're not going to get a tight race to the end of the season. I think they have a very slight advantage. If you're a bookmaker, I bet it's like McLaren minus 120, Ferrari plus 120. Like they're very close. So it's going to be a good fight for third. I'm very excited for the rest of the season for those two teams going at it.
Yeah, I mean, dude, look at Shaw last race, man. Made it up on the podium, like, had the lead the entire race outside of the last two laps. They're definitely like coming together a little bit, and I mean, like Carlos Sainz is starting to pick it up a little bit more. He's inching his way up. Like, I don't remember what he finished. I know it was inside the top 10 though, for sure. But yeah, I mean, like, it's going to be close, dude. It's getting closer. I don't really have much to add to that, to be honest. I mean, it's like, they're both great. Lando, though, I mean, is Mr. Consistency. Biggest thing, though, Ricardo, dude, really, really picked it up last week. And so if he can start adding to those points, I mean, they could start taking it away, or Sainz picks it up and they come back. But that's probably my most favorite team battle to be watching right now is those two.
Yeah, I agree. Best of the rest is probably going to be just as entertaining as Lewis versus Max moving forward. I mean, as long as Lewis and Max keep it close. But I think that McLaren's straight line pace might be the fastest out of any car there. I mean, Lewis complained about it when he was behind Lando. Sergio said something about it. It's just a hard car to pass. Carlos was really struggling behind Danny in the dirty air. It does really come down to those second drivers because, I mean, Charles proven himself in a few races this year. Lando's proven himself in every race since last year. It's really just Danny and Carlos getting up to speed, and I think it's going to be a good battle all year.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Yeah, because we go into Hungary this weekend. A lot of implications because this is a good race to build up a lot of data as we go in the summer break. And then you got to imagine the cars are kind of where they're going to be. You know, like we'll make small adjustments towards the last stretch of the season. But for the most part, you know, we're going to have a good idea of kind of the race pace of a lot of these cars after the summer break. I'm sure there's a lot of development that goes in to just kind of finish things up. But it seems like a lot of teams are also kind of shifting to 2022 now. So it's going to be a really big race, I think, for data. And it looks like, you know, we're recording this on Saturday morning. It looks like Mercedes has a bit of their pace back. So the question becomes, can they regain a consistent edge over Red Bull? Are they going to be right there? You know, we kind of don't really know where they're going to end up after this kind of break and with everything that happened with Red Bull in the past few weeks.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you can go.
It's tough. I mean, you guys saw my overreaction. I texted you guys and I said, I think Mercedes is back to form. Maybe that's just a little FP1, FP2 overreaction. I'm really worried about Max's power unit. I mean, they're using the same one. You only get 3 a season. He's on his second right now. And if his second's busted, it's super early in the season to switch to that third one. And that second one he's been pumping out for the past few weeks has been on fire. The car has been absolutely on fire. And I know he was having a lot of problems yesterday. A chassis rebuild. I mean, I'm just really hoping that Red Bull really are where they should be, but I'm worried. I'm not going to lie. I'm worried.
Yeah, no, I'm kind of the same way. I mean, like if we rewind back, look at that past race, we would not be having this conversation at all if that crash didn't happen. Like, you know, I mean, outside of that, you know, Mercedes was trailing so bad. There's nothing. I mean, Max seems to be like, okay, I hope he's good. You know, like mentally seems like he's good. He might be a little shook up. I don't know. You know, I'm not going to speculate on that. But, you know, you make a really good point with the power unit. Like, yeah, I mean, they're using the same one. He's got one left. Mercedes is certainly riding momentum right now. I mean, like, I really don't, it's a tough question to answer, man, because like, I don't think much has changed with Red Bull, to be honest. I mean, yes, like if they're saying this power unit is going to go outside of something happening with the power unit, they're right back to, you know, okay, let's do this square one again. They've been freaking dominating. I mean, like absolutely dominating. It was at least Max has. And so, you know, it's going to be close. I know, you know, the FP1, FP2 results, you know, all those are, you know, definitely starting to lean towards Mercedes, but it's close. I mean, 0.088 seconds, I think, from Max and Lewis. So I don't know. It's definitely going to be interesting. This race is like, I feel like after this race, we'll be able to, you know, really give an answer to that. I don't know. It's going to be very interesting. And this qualifier is going to be just as interesting because of that, I think.
Yeah, so Max saves power unit, but they still incur 1.8 mil in damage from that crash. So still pretty significant, especially with kind of the cap budget this year. So they can't afford many more of those, you know, if one. So we'll see how that plays out for the rest of the year. And then we have some off the track drama, which it's about that time of year. Chip showed me this clip. George Russell gets asked about the Mercedes situation, just kind of fumbles his way around it, almost like doesn't really have words. So the implication to me seems like there's probably going to be a big move coming up in the next few weeks. How that plays out for Valtteri, that there's just a lot of different implications. Obviously, Valtteri's not going to be happy, so he's going to be aggressive driving. So I think there's a lot of things that are happening off the track that'll also play themselves out on the track for the rest of the year too. So look out for some next few weeks here.
It's July 31st right now. George Russell will be on Mercedes within the next 2 weeks. Like not signed, but he will be at the announcement of his signing will be in 2 weeks. What happens with Valtteri, I don't know. You know, I mean, like there's a couple different options in my head, hypotheticals that like, I mean, I think I forget who we were talking about. It might have been all three of us. Like, would he make a move to like would Red Bull try and do something with them and drop Sergio, or like, you know, I mean, I don't know. It'd be interesting. Or does he go Williams and like, you know, could dominate there or try to? I don't really know, but it's been a long time coming. He deserves it. He's one of the best drivers out there in the worst car. Get him out of there. Get him in a Mercedes.
I'd like to see. I think you're right. I don't know about 2 weeks, but I think you're right. I think George is definitely going, but I think it could be a good thing for Williams. Bringing back Valtteri in, you have a super experienced racer who could help you every weekend really get the car into a better spot. Since Claire Williams left, there's been a new CEO brought in. They still have a Mercedes power unit. I mean, next year could be a huge year for these teams that have been historically struggling. And I think for a big team that wants to make a big comeback like Williams, they got the name. They just need a face. So bring Valtteri back. He has history there. He had some podium finishes with Williams in the past. I think it'll be a good move. Obviously, I mean, Valtteri wants a world title. He's probably not going to get it in a Williams. He's helped Mercedes win every world title in the past. So it's tough, but we'll see.
Yeah.
Yeah, and just to kind of shed a little light on how hot things have gotten between Red Bull and Mercedes, I thought this was a good quote. Very kind of British of Mercedes. They say they accuse Red Bull of a concerted attempt to tarnish Lewis Hamilton's good name and sporting integrity. So those are because Red Bull came at them pretty hard. They sent me at a statement off. I think there was about 4 different statements from each team, and each one got a little bit more harsher. So the teams definitely, Toto and Christian Horner, I don't think are friends. And I don't think they never really were friends. Now they actually probably don't like each other. Yeah, but now that they always played around, I don't think there's going to be much teasing anymore. No. It's going to be serious.
This has always been real. There's always been something real below it. Like you could tell, it's like they played around, but it was like.
Yeah, but now it is.
No,
real.
Now it's not.
Playtime's over.
Playtime's over. Playtime's over, and I want to see. You know, there's been a lot of respect between Max and Lewis after these races are done. Is there going to be fist bumps? Is there going to be handshakes still, or is it just going to be walk up to the podium, do your speech, don't even acknowledge the other guy? So we'll see. I think Max is pretty pissed, man. I don't think he's going to be friendly Max with Lewis after these races, especially if there's more incidents. And if they're really racing aggressive. If Max goes out and whips Lewis for the rest of the year, then I'm sure he'll go back to being nice. But if they do come down to aggressive racing, and this is a week in and week out battle that's actually close, I think Max is going to be a little bit more surly like we used to see him a few years back.
Yeah, I totally agree there. I mean, Max is known for having his temper. He's tossed fists at Esteban Ocon in the past. He's pushed people. He's mouthed off. I don't see him just floating through the rest of the season if there's any more close calls. If Lewis is dominating, because it was a big shift, and I don't think Max really saw it coming. We know he was super pissed about the celebration when he was in the hospital. He might be overreacting a little bit. I don't think Lewis knew he was in the hospital during the time, but yeah, I don't think he's gonna be happy.
Yeah, that was a pretty serious tweet he sent out that he was not happy. So yeah, it's gonna be interesting to watch for the rest of the year. But let's hop my prediction for the weekend.
Yeah, let me just quickly say something about that. Like I don't think it's this whole season after that was the biggest shifting moment in like us watching F1 since we started. This is not going to be, there's no question that this is going to change the way that these two interact, not only for this season, depending on the outcome of it, dude. Like that was really, really big. Like there's no way. at least after this race, I'm very, very curious to see who comes out on top tomorrow. And depending on it's going to be fascinating to see the way that these guys interact, because this rivalry is just keeps brewing and getting crazier. And now it's like real. Now there's like, damage and like things have happened, and it's like, okay, like now there's no gloves are off, it's going. So that's all I was wanted to say to that. I don't think that there's any chance that these guys are cordial with each other whatsoever.
All right, let's hop into the weekend. We've been doing pretty good lately, or at least decent.
Yeah, not bad.
I think I said Fernando.
We got to keep track of this. We got to write this stuff down.
Yeah, well, we just started a new format, so I got to figure it out like once we started switching over. But let's hop into top sixes. There's been a theme between me and Hoove.
Yep.
We keep going with the old guys.
Yep, and I'm doing it again.
You're dipping back in the well. Let me hear it.
Oh, it's Seb, baby. They're calling this track Monaco without walls, Baku without walls. I'm saying slow corner Seb. He's here this week. He's in it to win it. I'm ready.
Yeah. I'm going to go and take Fernando again. Not you.
Yeah, we love these old men.
Dude, he's just been racing out of his mind. Like, he probably earned another year if he wants it. I mean, I think the last 4 races it just switched, where he just began outpacing Ocon every race. Yeah. So, I mean, at this point, I think Ocon's a good racer, but that's not good for his F1 career when the 40-year-old legend starts outpacing you in a midfield car. So, and outpacing,
he's looking like, I'm not going to say his championship form, but he's doing a lot better than those last years with McLaren. Like, Fernando looks good.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, if you put him in, one of those top 4 cars, like, it'd be very interesting to see what he was doing every week. So
definitely,
yeah, I'm going to throw him in there again. I think some things have to happen, obviously, but why not take the long shot? Chip, what do you
got? I'm going to go Pierre Gasly in top 6 this weekend.
I think we could say that again too. We barred that for a bit, but I mean, he has.
I know he was barred, but he really has not been playing. He hasn't been doing well.
Yeah,
and like I think he's due for a bounce back. I mean, Yuki's done better than him. I think the last 2 races.
Right.
That's something we haven't talked about.
I mean, like there's like we gotta say, like the AlphaTauri situation's kind of crazy too. I think Pierre has a bounce back week this week. I think he's done well in Hungary, and it will be good.
All right, Hoop, what do you think we got? 3, 2, 1 podium.
3, 2, 1. I'm gonna say. I'll play devil's advocate. I normally do. I'm gonna say Valtteri, Lewis, Max. I'm gonna say a strong fuck you weekend. Valtteri. I'm gonna say he gets to form. He's really, really motivated from this George Russell stuff. Hell, let Lewis and Max battle behind you. Valtteri's gonna be in clear air. That's what I think.
All right. I am going to go Sergio, Lewis, Max.
Ooh, love that.
Sergio, Lewis, Max. I'm switching out Valtteri.
I mean, as Sergio's biggest fan, he needs to step it up.
Yeah.
And that would be the perfect way to step it up, earn your seat before the summer break. But
dude, this race with them, with Mercedes biting at your heels right now coming into this race, that would, if Sergio could put up some points too, that would be massive.
Christian would go mega over that.
Yeah.
Mega.
All right. I've been thinking about this. I'm going Max, Lewis, Lando. That's I think Lando is just, I don't know. I got just really nothing to back it up. Doing great, continuing to do great. He could absolutely
wins, right?
What?
Max wins, right?
Max wins. Lewis second, third place Lando.
I thought you were giving me Lando win, which I would have.
No. No, my boy is coming back after that 51G crash and taking this thing.
All right. Well, it's time to go watch qual. Let's have a Saturday. We go into a really big weekend. And then we get a few weeks. What's the summer break? Is it 3 weeks?
I think it's 2 or 3. I think the
I thought
last
it was
race is
4
like
weeks. I saw a meme that said 4 weeks.
I think it's the last weekend of August is the next race, I believe. So that is
the
4
last
weeks
weekend
actually.
of August. This is the last weekend of July. So yeah,
that
4
is
weeks.
a whole month. Yeah.
Yeah.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, brutal. I know.
And I think we come back to Spa. I think that's opening after summer break, which is big time.
Yep.
I think we get Spa then Monaco or Monza.
Monza. Yeah, I think you're right.
There's some big races coming up once we get back, heavy hitters. And then come October, me and Chip will be out there at the Circuit of the Americas. Very excited for the second half of the season. This is a big race. Big race. Yeah, fellas.
Big race.
We'll see you in 4 weeks, boys.
Go Bulls.
Go Bulls.